Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're diving into a pretty fascinating stack of sources.
Yeah, looking at the real cutting edge of AI development.
Exactly. We're looking at everything from, the hidden instructions trying to control these big language models.
Do some really surprising new collaborations, like in design.
Right. And then there's this whole brewing battle over the future of how we'll actually, interact with AI. Agents, new hardware. It's
Yeah,
a lot.
it really is.
So our mission today is basically to unpack all these insights, try and connect the dots a bit.
And give you a shortcut to understanding what's really going on. How are we trying to shape these things? And how are they shaping us?
Couldn't have said it better.
Yeah.
We've got stuff on a leak system prompt for Claude 4.
Mm-hmm.
Rick Rubin getting into something called vibe coding, which sounds wild.
Definitely unexpected.
And then these big moves from Microsoft and OpenAI tied up with Jony Ive, the Apple design guy.
Yeah, big names, big ideas.
Okay, let's get into it. Let's start with that leaked Claude 4 system prompt. So if you work with these models, you know there's the prompt you give it, the user prompt.
Right.
But underneath, there's often this system prompt, kind of like the core instructions.
Exactly. The fundamental rules of the road for the model. Getting a look at one for a state-of-the-art model like Claude 4 is, well, pretty revealing.
Yeah, Simon Willison did this great blog post annotating the leak. He called it a snapshot of the state-of-the-art in prompting right now.
And it really feels like that. I mean, one of the first things that jumps out from the sources is just how massive it is.
Right. People described it as pages and pages long.
Yeah, which suggests Anthropic isn't just giving it a few bullet points. It's more like they're providing a whole education on how to be the kind of AI they want.
Helpful, harmless, honest, all that stuff. It's a really, granular attempt at control.
Super granular. And within that length, you get all sorts of instructions. Some are pretty simple, like give short answers or avoid artifacts, weird outputs. But then there's complex stuff on its perspective, its personality, how to handle sensitive topics.
And wasn't there that funny detail about how it talks to Claude?
Oh, yeah. It's written in the third person, like, Claude, you should do this, which is a choice.
A bit weird, right? Like giving your Roomba a pep talk.
Kinda. But maybe it works for framing things internally for the model. Who knows?
But beyond the quirks, there's this practical point someone made.
About applying it elsewhere.
Yeah, that taking system prompts from Claude 3.5 and just plugging them into Llama models actually improved the Llama models.
That's really interesting. It suggests these detailed instruction sets might not be totally model-specific. Maybe good prompting techniques are somewhat transferable.
Which could be big for the whole field.
Definitely. But looking closely at this prompt also really highlights this core tension, doesn't it?
You mean how much to spell out versus what?
Versus how much you just rely on what the model already knows from its training. There's that line, Claude should be cognizant of red flags and avoid responding in harmful ways.
Right. Cognizant of red flags. It sort of implies the model just has this built-in notion of what's bad.
Exactly. And that's where one perspective in the sources really pushed back hard.
Saying what? Don't rely on that.
Pretty much. Saying
Right.
instead of this one giant essay hoping the model gets it, maybe you should break tasks into more granular steps.
Ugh.
Like maybe have a separate, smaller model whose only job is screening for those red flags before the main request even hits Claude.
Like a bouncer model?
Kind of. This view argues for more verifiable checks and balances, using actual software functions, not just hoping for the best.
Instead of what they call security on a prayer.
Right. Asking the model, pretty, please don't be evil. It's about internal guidance versus external structured safety nets.
Okay, so given all that complexity and the debate about whether it even works perfectly,
Yeah.
is studying these leaked prompts actually useful?
Well, that's another debate in the sources.
Because some people apparently don't actually really do much prompting at all themselves.
Right.
They just ask another AI to write the prompt.
Yeah, which is a whole other layer. And it feeds into these two big schools of thought on whether companies should even release these things or if they just leak anyway.
What are the two schools?
Well, one view is release them as proof. Show how smart AI can be, but also how it can completely misunderstand the assignment without this detailed manual. It's educational.
Okay, transparency as education.
The other side is more cautious. Like AI is this new intern, eager, unpredictable, but somehow it's already running the company.
Okay,
So maybe releasing too much, especially the internal workings, could be dangerous. lead to exploits.
And didn't someone specifically mention the tools part of the prompts leaking?
Yes, that was a big concern. The instructions on how Claude interacts with external tools or functions, leaking that could be very dangerous.
So who should be studying this stuff? Just the experts, the 8 to 10 guys.
Maybe. The sources sort of debated that. It could be harmful or just confusing for people on the lower end. It's a real risk versus benefit calculation, especially with those tool instructions.
But there was another way of looking at the prompt, wasn't there? Less like a giant rule book.
Yeah, more like a handbook and a guide for the model for a specific scenario.
Okay, explain that.
Like, humans act differently at a party than they do on a podcast, right? We have different internal guides.
Sure.
So the system prompt guides the model for its current job, like how to be a general chatbot that uses a web tool but doesn't waffle too much.
Yeah, analogy was like a producer giving notes before a show. Tim, make your bed. Chris, sit up straight.
Exactly. Specific guidance for this performance, not universal laws.
Okay, that makes sense. But even as guidance, there's that vagueness issue, like telling it to strongly consider doing something.
Right. Strongly consider isn't exactly a command, is it? How much control does that really give you?
And have they actually tested that every single line has the intended effect? What happens if you take one line out? Does performance degrade?
Good question. As one source pointed out, sometimes prompts get loaded up with stuff based on one weird edge case someone found in testing.
So maybe there's a bit of wishful thinking involved.
Could be. The model's already been trained on a lot of this behavior. Giving it this nice little playbook might create a false degree of security that it'll actually stick to it every time.
And many prompts are just way too long. We need standards, maybe, to check if they actually work.
That was suggested. Some kind of certification for prompt effectiveness.
Which leaps us back to the danger of those tool prompts leaking. That robotic surgery example was, chilling.
Yeah, the idea that a hack could bypass refinements, do jailbreaking, force bad searches, leading to catastrophic impacts.
Or even just filing your taxes wrong, or sending emails you didn't approve. Oops. Sorry, Kate, I sent an email on your behalf.
Exactly. Those tool interactions need to be carefully thought of, maybe obfuscated or encrypted.
But Anthropic tried to hold some back, and they leaked anyway. It shows how hard that risk and balance is.
It really is. And how do you truly hide things when it's all just text tokens underneath? Companies must know these things will leak within hours. It's a constant cat and mouse game.
Yeah, controlling these things isn't just about writing the right words. It's a whole system design problem.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's pivot. From trying to control AI with hidden instructions to a totally different way of interacting.
Yeah.
Creativity, expression. Rick Rubin.
Ah, yes, the vibe coding.
Rick Rubin, legendary music producer, teaming up with Anthropic. Wild.
Yeah, they put out this document, thewayofcode.com. It's like a rewrite of the Tao Te Ching about vibe coding. Very artistic.
It feels very Rick Rubin, right? Especially given that famous interview where he said, I have no technical capability and I know nothing about music.
Which immediately makes you ask, well, just how far will vibe coding go?
Could we get Rick Rubin-like producers for code? People with zero technical ability doing amazing stuff just by guiding the AI's vibe.
It's a fascinating question. One perspective sees it on a continuum. Like, coding is already kind of an art, engineering has flow state.
Okay.
Vibe coding is maybe further down that path, more an art form or like this cultural phenomenon.
No, not for everything.
This view says, for production stuff at scale, you still need good engineering. But for a quick prototype or an experience that doesn't have to be so precise, vibe coding is the way to go.
A tool for exploration, then, not building bridges.
Maybe not the final bridge, yeah. Another view really leans into coding as inherently artistic and creative.
Okay.
And the big potential here, they think, is vibe coding could unlock future developers from different backgrounds, bring different experiences to solving problems.
That's cool, making creation more accessible.
Definitely. But again, they stress a balanced approach. Big difference between art and, critical infrastructure like banking systems.
Right. Reliability matters there.
Hugely. So vibe coding might not build the bank, but it's powerful as a communication tool to articulate vision, explain what you're looking for.
And maybe iterate faster, experiment faster.
Exactly. Disrupting that part of the process, getting ideas out quickly.
I like that framing.
Yeah, and another source really doubled down on programming as an art form. They see vibe coding supporting exploration, just figuring things out.
You don't always need the full engineering plan up front.
Right. The analogy was architecture. You have the creative sketch, like the Guggenheim.
And then the technical schematic to actually build it.
Precisely. You need the mix. Vibe coding lets you play, break things down, recompose them, test ideas really quickly. Then you engineer the necessary parts. Keeps the creativity flowing.
Okay, thinking about organizations.
Mm-hmm.
You know how there's sometimes that class system, designers versus engineers?
Mm-hmm.
Could vibe coding disrupt that? If designers can suddenly build workable prototypes,
Mm-hmm.
could they seize the means of production, basically?
Uh-huh. That was mentioned. It could be deeply disruptive to those workflows and power dynamics.
Well,
But it can go both ways, though. A designer builds a vibe-coded prototype, it looks great. But if it goes straight to production, it could undoubtedly fail. Teach some pretty nasty lessons about real-world complexity.
so maybe his best role is still communication. But engineers could use it too, right?
Totally. An engineer could vibe up a design sketch. Everybody's going to be in everybody else's business, blurring the line.
Completely blurring lines.
Someone else connected it strongly to inventing.
How so?
So it's very similar. You need different perspectives, the artfulness of creating novelty and the engineering to make sure it's implementable.
A blend.
A blur where scientists and creatives become one, exploring branches quickly. The big question, the white space, is how do we connect vibe coding to the actual build implementation that can handle scale and load?
So vibe coding. Great front end for creativity, rapid prototyping. But the bridge to production-ready systems is still the key challenge.
That seems to be the consensus, bridging vision and reality.
Okay, let's shift gears again. Another big story blending AI and design. Microsoft, Jony Ive, OpenAI.
Yeah, that rumor deal. $6 billion plus acquisition involving Ive's company IO and collaborating with OpenAI on hardware?
Jony Ive, the iPhone design mastermind. It's a big deal.
A huge transaction, as one source put it. And the immediate question is it worth it? Seems like a huge bill for collaborations.
Well, yeah, but you're buying Jony Ive, right? His talent, his brand.
Exactly. The thinking is it's likely beyond collaboration. It's about shaping the ideas for the future of AI, what it looks like, how we interact with it.
So buying vision.
Pretty much. Because the context is everything is becoming multimodal. AI is getting cheaper, running on device.
So we need new ways to interact beyond screens.
New form factors need to be discovered. How will we interact? How will these AI agents, whatever they end up being, behave? What's next after web and mobile?
So bringing AI and design leaders together is kind of essential to figure out what that future looks like.
Makes sense, right. And Ive has been through those transformations before, guiding big shifts. It seems like a smart move and exciting collaboration for the next wave of experience design for AI.
And the rumored product.
Yeah.
An AI device with no screens.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. We built this whole digital world on screens, going completely no screen. That feels surprising.
Definitely. It makes you think of those AI companion type things. Maybe a bit like a Tamagotchi.
Huh. Maybe they want to avoid that comparison. Probably aiming for a life assistant route. And you don't need a screen to communicate now, right? Voice is getting much better.
True. But could you really ditch screens entirely?
Hmm.
One source struggled with that, imagining you'd still need like a phone app to connect to it.
Yeah, hard to untether completely.
It makes you think of the Humane Pin, doesn't it?
Immediately, the screenless AI assistant that, well, didn't quite take off.
And the debate was, did people just not want it, or was the technology kind of not there yet?
Right. And is a year enough time for the tech to catch up with AI moving so fast? Good question.
And that valuation. If it's really $6.5 billion for 55 people, that's $118 million-ish per employee.
Whoa. Yeah, that's a high-stakes bet on design talent because they probably haven't shipped anything yet. It's very speculative.
But if they nail it, create these AI companions, Altman supposedly wants 100 million users.
Then maybe they can sell these very cheaply and make back the investment on the platform side.
But they need something tangible very quickly. That source said, Apple, watch out. Apple needs to get its Apple Intelligence going quickly.
Yeah, the idea of companions that understand what's happening in one's life without a screen or maybe extending to existing screens, that's powerful. Different form factors, cutting-edge AI experiences. It's going to be really, really interesting.
But then there's the trust issue. Privacy.
Huge issue, especially for something so personal. One source thought OpenAI might struggle with this notion of privacy and trust.
Why?
Just the potential shadiness factor, like why are my life's details being recorded and beamed up to some machine? Is OpenAI best suited to crack that?
Maybe the new design team helps design for trust, though Apple might have a better starting position there.
That's the argument, yeah. If Apple figures out their AI.
Though someone else pushed back, saying maybe we overthink trust sometimes.
How so?
Saying it's often a trade. What's the functionality I'm going to get? How much better is my life going to
Like
be?
ChatGPT, people use it knowing they're giving away data because it's useful.
Exactly. But maybe for really sensitive life stuff, that trade doesn't work. Maybe the Apple on-device approach is crucial there.
Makes sense. And then there's the ecosystem.
Right, you're not just going to ditch your iPhone, are you? Everything is connected, all of my
A
movies.
screenless device, what am I going to play my movie on?
Things don't exist on islands. The Humane Pin sat on an island. Apple is great at ecosystems. If they enter this space, they'll leverage that.
So OpenAI's problem is, what ecosystem are you going to plug into?
Yeah.
Basically Apple and Google. If you can't integrate deeply, you've got a problem.
Which brings us, kind of neatly, to Microsoft. Their strategy seems all about building an ecosystem for agents.
Yeah, that Verge interview with Jay Perrick, the agent factory,
What was the core idea?
his quote was something like, I want our platform to be the thing they turn into their own agent factory.
So any company can use Microsoft tools to build their own AI agents.
Pretty much. It connects to that idea that agent means everything now, and companies are battling for what an agent even is. Google's is search. Microsoft's is every company becoming its own agent manufacturer.
Does this mean commodified, democratized agents are coming soon?
One source thought so. You see pressure from Salesforce with Agentforce, IBM's watsonx agents. Microsoft's talking to enterprises that need agents.
And it's democratizing because
Because for lots of common enterprise tasks, performance is converging. Any model can do 80% of the value. So the ability to build your own, swap out parts, customize with your own data becomes critical. Avoids vendor lock-in.
But is orchestration still too complex for most companies? Or are there enough common tasks that an out-of-the-box agent will work for many?
Maybe it goes in two directions, like that source suggested. Simple agents and complex custom ones.
Someone used a James Bond analogy.
Yeah, agents are the ultimate agent, but you need to watch out for double agents, make sure they don't go rogue.
So Microsoft's building in safeguards.
Apparently. Things like agent identity and governance give them IDs so you don't get fakes or doppelganger agents. Plus, observability, low-code, no-code tools.
And Microsoft has that huge compute advantage.
That came up, the top500.org list. Microsoft's Eagle system on Azure is number 4 globally. And it's cloud-based, which was highlighted.
So Azure Compute plus data sources, Windows integration, Copilot, they have the bread and butter elements to make the factory happen.
They just need to release some of these features to match the vision and help us avoid these double agents.
So is this agent market going to be winner take all?
Probably not winner take all because of that commoditization.
And standardization helps.
Yeah, things like the Model Context Protocol, MCP, for calling tools remotely, that creates a marketplace of tools. Models get trained to use them, you switch agents, you bring your tools along.
So in the factory, maybe you only build the custom 20%.
Exactly, because 80% might exist already. Other protocols for agent interoperability also push towards a marketplace, not a monopoly. Specialization.
And okay, bringing it back again.
Yeah.
This standardization, this factory model, connects back to vibe coding.
Right. One source saw that connection clearly. If you have engineered agents, standard tools, models talking to each other.
Then vibe coding becomes quite interesting in the world of factories.
Yeah. You can vibe up what I want, express the high-level goal, then hand it across to some agents for the production version.
It completes that circle. Vibe coding isn't just a toy, it blends with the factory.
Those two worlds will blend over time.
Wow. And someone even mentioned agent skills marketplaces using tech like Allura.
Yeah, activated low-rank adaptation. It creates these small sets of weights that tweak a model's attention, fine-tuning it for a specific skill.
So you can save that skill, load it dynamically on the fly.
And the same model now has a different behavior. It's
Right.
like decentralized skills.
So you could, like, vibe, create what kind of skill vibes with you, and then put it on a marketplace.
Potentially. Model distillations could play in that as well, sharing and trading these modular AI skills.
That's a really interesting vision, vibe coding the concept, agents refining it, sharing skills.
Mm.
But looping back one last time to control and building bridges. We talked about vibe coding for creation, maybe agents bridging to execution. But where does the human fit?
Yeah, my final thought on that is humans are going to have to be in the loop more than just in the vibe coding step.
You think?
I do.
Yep.
It's exciting to think you can vibe code the start, hand it off, and see what bridge pops out. But I'm not ready to totally just kick out the human in the loop part in the middle,
Yeah.
especially for things that need to be reliable. You can't just walk across blindly.
Seems like a fine bridge, though.
All my agents are telling it's the best.
Every agent agrees.
Mm.
Okay. Well, that's all the time we have for today. You've now taken a pretty deep dive into those hidden instructions inside AI, the challenge of control.
The surprising places design and creativity are meeting AI, like vibe coding.
And that whole battle for the future of agents, hardware, how we'll interact. Hopefully you feel a bit more clued in on these wild developments.
And how humans are trying to shape AI and how it's changing us.
Exactly. So as we think about this future AI agent factories, intuitive companions, vibe coding creativity, where does the human hand remain essential?
How do we make sure those AI-built bridges are actually safe, even if all the agents say they're perfect?
Something to keep thinking about. We'll see you next week.